Hey guys, how you doing? One of the things I want to talk to you about today is how I go about tracking my calories for what I put into my body. And what I use this little illustration here, is the app that is called MyFitnessPal. And one of the things that I appreciate about the MyFitnessPal is it gives you a lot of options to track overall health, from setting what your calorie intake should be, to an exercise diary, to food logs, to being able to create menus within the application for foods that you commonly eat. So it makes it really simple to input and upload this information and then track it. The other thing, if you get a little more advanced, the app also allows you to track macronutrients. So if you're trying to get on like a fat shredder where you really want to lose a lot of fat really quickly, you can set the macronutrients on here to track those macros to maintain a fat shredder type diet plan, and ultimately that's what a lot of fitness people use in order to like start showing their abs and to really get down to really minimal body fat. The other thing it allows you to do is it also allows you to track your daily weight. Now on the Arbonne 30-day to healthy living challenge, they don't recommend that you weigh yourself every day, but I do. I weigh myself every day because it shows me the trends of foods that I intake that my body is good with and foods that it's not good with. Because for example, there are some foods, just the way my body reacts, I just instantaneously will retain a lot of water. And then the number on the scale goes up. And what that allows me to know is it allows me to know, at least psychologically, that I'm still on track to doing things right. Just certain foods have, affect my body differently. So if you want to track your calories, how do you go about doing it? Well, so first of all, download the MyFitnessPal app right there and log into it. Once you get logged into the FitnessPal app, you're going to want to come here to the more application, go into your profile and set what your goals are. The app has many aspects of it over here on this left column, and I guess depending on the type of device you're working on, it's going to be a little bit different. But here's what your goals are. Here's what your starting weight is, what your current weight is, what your goal weight is, what a weekly goal is, and what your activity level is. Here it tracks nutritional goals, fitness goals, kind of the whole gamut of things, if you will, of what you want. So for people who are wanting to lose weight, I would simply go in and put in a starting weight, what your current weight is, what your goal weight is, and then what your weekly goal is, whether you want to lose 1 pound a week or 2 pounds a week. The choice is really going to be up to you. Now, for me personally, I like the slow and steady when it comes to weight loss. So I would look for a 1/2 pound to 1 pound per week at most, and that would be an achievable goal. The FitnessPal app will set what it believes to be your caloric intake needs are. However, I don't use that. I go in and set my own, because typically this app is going to say that you can have a little more calories than probably what you need to. So for me, what do I set mine to? Well, I'm 185 pound, almost 50 years old, and I have my caloric intake target set at 1,800 calories a day. If I go over that a little bit, if I go up to 2,000 on some days, I don't sweat it. There's some days I go up to 2,400 calories on days when I really have a really intense workout. I'll fuel that workout a little bit more when I'm done. But that's kind of the rewards of working hard in the gym too, is that you get to intake a little bit extra nutrition along the way. Okay, so check this out. So I'm going to go into what my food diary is, and so far I haven't logged anything for the day. If you go into yesterday's, you can see what I had. Here's my morning shake, the routine of my morning shake. If I scroll up, here's my lunch, here was my dinner, here was my snacks. Now, I don't track my water and I don't track my exercise on this. A lot of people do. I used to, but I've been tracking now for almost 2,000 days straight. So I've gotten to know this application really well and what works for my body, so I don't necessarily track all of that stuff anymore. But as for today, let me go down in here and show you real quick what I did for breakfast. So if I'm going to come down here, I'm going to add some food. I'm going to go down here to this little button. I'm going to go, here's my multi-add, because my stuff is already uploaded into here. So what did I have for breakfast? I had a little bit of bacon bits, I had 3 eggs, and I had half an avocado. I've checked those 3 boxes, come down here, I add these 3, and bam, there it is. If I wanted to, if I was going to have the same lunch I had yesterday, you come over here to this side of the menu. Whoops. Obviously the app's not cooperating like my phone does, but you could go over to this button anyway, pull this up, do a copy from date, and I could say, you know what, I want to copy here my lunch from yesterday, hit the check mark, and let's do that again. Copy from date. I'm going to copy my lunch from yesterday, and there's my lunch for that. There lists my lunch from yesterday. Now that's not what I had for lunch yesterday, so I'm going to come over here. I mean, that's not what I'm going to have for lunch today, so I'm going to come over here and delete those out. So again, here's my first meal of the day, my breakfast. Now if I wanted to see what kind of macronutrients that look like, I'm going to come down and hit my nutrition button, and I want to track the macros on it, and you can see that it's mainly a high-fat breakfast. It's the avocado and the bacon are real super high-fat. The other portion, 31% of that meal, was protein based, which were the eggs. So if I was tracking macros, I would know exactly what my targets were for that one particular meal. What are some other things that you can do with this app? Well, let me go back down here. Let's go back down, and I won't necessarily add it today, maybe I will, but let's go back down to lunch. So let's say I'm going to add something here for lunch. Up here on the menu, here's all of the recently eaten foods that I've put into here. So I could go select one of those if that's what it was. If it's something new, I can come up here to this UPC symbol, and then now here's the UPC symbol box here, and if you put a UPC code in front of that, the application will actually input that data for you. So if you're eating almond butter or black beans or green beans, all you got to do is UPS scan that code, and it automatically uploads it into your MyFitnessPal app, and it'll keep it forever. So it's always going to be in there. No matter what you do with that app, you're still going to have that food loaded in there. So here's another thing that I want to show you on the app under the progress section. So progress down here is where you track your weight. So if I go back here to, let me go back to May, and show you. So let's look right here on May 21st. That's when I started my 30-day to healthy challenge eating, and I've been eating that same ever since. So from Monday to Tuesday was a couple pounds lost, then I lost another pound, then another pound, then I gained a pound, then I lost a pound, I gained a pound, lost a pound, lost a pound, gained a pound, and it continues every day, and I can compare every one of those weights with the food that I've been eating. You can also log onto a computer under your settings and get some good printouts as things progress, but you can see the weight is slowly coming off down to today, where I'm 184, almost 185 pounds. 184.7 is what I am today. So those are just a few of the things that you can do with the FitnessPal app. Now, how do I go about ensuring that what I put into the application is correct? And that comes down to this. This is just your typical digital scale. And I wanted to show you a few things, because I think a lot of people probably overestimate or underestimate the amount of food that they're putting in their mouth. So to be absolutely sure, I track it with a a scale. So how do I do this? Well, I'm going to put some almonds in here. I want to show you what an ounce of almonds look like. And you put whatever device you're going to put on top of this thing and turn it on. You can see it's going to be zeros. So this is set for ounces. And now I'm going to put an ounce of almonds in here because I want you to see what that looks like. So I just added an ounce of almonds into here. I'll put them out here on this paper towel and you can see what it looks like. It's not a lot. I mean, it's really less than a handful. It's just not a lot. And so I think one of the things that people do is they fill up that cup halfway. They call that an ounce, and you consume that. And you've just put twice as much calories in than is necessary. Another item that I think people often over or underestimate on are things such as like almond butter or peanut butter, a lot of the healthy fats. So anyway, for me, I put this thing onto the scale and then I zero it back out. So now it weighs what it's supposed to weigh. Now for this, I know that 32 grams is a serving. So I'm gonna come down here, I'm gonna change my scale over to grams and grab a fork here, and I'm gonna pull out 32 grams worth of, well, here's what 24 grams is. It's not very much. That's 24. I've measured this out all the way. I've got it 31 grams, and here's what that quantity looks like. It's not really a whole lot. And what I think sometimes people do is, they put a big old heap of almond butter, whatever kind of nut butter they put into some of their shakes, and again, they get twice the amount because they're not weighing it, and these scales don't lie, and it ends up being a really good way to see exactly what it is that you put in your body. Now, I don't weigh my vegetables. I don't do that. I would weigh any kind of complex carb, and I call them more of like a heavy carb, the brown rices, the potato based, the sweet potato type carbs. I weigh those, and in fact, I just try to avoid them altogether because I know what those do to me. Those I use them only as a fuel source to fuel a workout, and only if I deserve it because I've worked super hard. Then I'll have fueled that workout with a little bit of carbs. I mean, a little bit. You don't. Those things are over consumed, and it converts the body. Doesn't allow the body to burn its own fat sources. Because remember, if your goal is to burn fat, then you have to eat less than what your body's caloric intake should be just to maintain itself. So regardless of the whole non-counting calories through the Arbonne process, I completely embrace that and I agree with that. But the long run, if you are trying to lose weight, the trick is to eat less calories than what your body needs to maintain. The other thing that I weigh on that digital scale is the proteins. Typically for me, I'm a 6-ounce protein per meal guy. For women, I think that should be less than that. Maybe 4 ounces, 4 to 5 ounces should be your intake on any one particular protein source. With that, I hope that you've learned something from this. This may not agree with doctors in the world or whatever, or nutritionists may have issues with what I'm saying, but they're the ones who I read and research and have gained this own personal knowledge of my own, applied it to myself, and it worked. Again, I'm almost 50. I'm healthier than I've ever been. I feel fantastic, and I'm still losing weight. I'm still losing fat, and even the abs are starting to show. So again, I'm coming to you as a guy who's been on that path. I once weighed 250 pounds. I don't anymore. And you can take this advice or leave it. I would take it though, because it does work. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day, and God bless.